Alright guys, today we have this Lexus. This is a 2016 ES 350, and as you can see there's some front end damage. The headlight right here is a little scuffed up. We have some problems with the bumper. The fog light trim is missing, so we're going to be replacing this with a new bumper. We have the new bumper right here, brand new, painted to match. It's a pretty nice paint job if I do say so myself. It wasn't me who did it, but you know, I can appreciate craftsmanship. So we're going to be removing the old bumper. We're going to be putting this new bumper on, and I believe replacing the headlights as well. So we're also going to be replacing both headlights. As you can see, this one is pretty heavily condensated. So here we got these brand new Lexus triple beam VLANs with the check mark. These look fire. Obviously, you know, we have one for each side. We got these brand new LED fog light housings, pristine condition, and we have a new sensor that we're going to be replacing, because as you can see, this one is slightly damaged with the sonar. So yeah, we're gonna get started. Let's get to it. Anyways guys, we got the car jacked up on one side. The reason is because you're gonna have these bolts for the under splash guard that's attached to the bumper. So you're gonna get a 10 millimeter, or you could use a Phillips, but honestly I highly recommend use a 10 millimeter. And you're just gonna take off all these bolts that connect this splash guard to the bumper. Alright, so now we got all those screws off. You're going to want to pop your engine, and you're going to have to first take off this plastic shroud. So these are just push clips. You can use like a flathead or a clip removal tool. And yeah, so for example right here, you can take a flathead, try and squeeze it in there. You lift up this top piece and the whole thing will come out. And then once all of these push rivets are off, this entire plastic piece will come off. So now you got the plastic piece off. Under this little rubber shroud, you can lift off. You're gonna have to take it off this little hook right here, so just apply some pressure. You're gonna have another push clip to take off right here. Then you have this screw that's for this little chrome grill piece, and then in the middle you're gonna have another 10 millimeter bolt, and then it's gonna be the exact same on the other side with the push rivet and then a screw as well. Alright, so now we come over to the wheel well. You're going to have to take off a couple things for this actual fender liner. You're going to have this little clip right here. Honestly, most of them just break. Just that's how they are. But you can take a flathead, unscrew it, and then you'll be able to pull this out. And then you're going to have another push clip right here. Same thing with the flathead. You can just pop that off. And once you take those two things off, you'll be able to bend the wheel liner back. Because if you can see right here where my finger is, it's kind of hard to tell, but there is a 10 millimeter bolt you need to remove in order to remove the bumper off the fender. So once you take off this 10 millimeter screw, you're gonna have this rectangular plastic trim piece. It's gonna be in this square hole, right? So you're gonna have to get a flathead, and you're gonna have to push down on this tab. And once you push that down, you'll be able to use leverage and pull it out. And once that's done, you can literally, as you can see, the bumper will just easily come off, or at least this area. And you gotta do the same on the other side. One thing I forgot to mention is you're gonna want to remove these two like knobs right here. These are honestly the same as the push clips we removed for the shroud. It just has a little rubber stopper for the hood. So you just get a pry tool or a flathead, and you just pull up on it. You just pull up on it, and then it'll just slide right out just like that. So do the same on this side. Let's see if I can do it one hand here. Well, it's hard to do with one hand, but you get the gist. You just take a pry tool. Oh, there you go. And you just pry it up, and then boom, it comes off. Alright, so once you got all that removed, the bumper literally should just slide out. It would be helpful if you had a buddy to help you out, but you're going to want to come back here, and you're going to want to first disconnect the fog lights. It's just a push tab. You push in here, and it just pulls out. It might be a little difficult. You're going to have to use some strength. And you're going to also have to disconnect your sensors. But I forgot to mention, I highly recommend you disconnect your battery, and you let it sit for like 5 to 10, maybe even 15 minutes before you disconnect anything electrical, just so it doesn't throw any codes. But yeah, now we have the entire bumper off. We're going to be disconnecting the two fog lights, the front sensors, and then the bumper should just come right off. So quick tip, you're going to have one connection here for the driver's side fog light. Obviously you're going to have another connection for the passenger side fog light, and the sensors are all connected to each other. So to the car, you're just going to have it on the passenger side, and that's just the 3 connections, and then the bumper comes right off, as you can see right here. So now that we have the old bumper off, you're going to have to transfer all the hardware onto the new one. So we have this middle grill piece. That's like the Lexus badge, and then the grill right here. This side is missing, but you're going to have this fog light trim right here. And then you have the sensors, at least the good ones remaining. So coming back here, as you can see, there's screws. This piece is the grill itself. All the gray area, that's the bumper, and the black is the grill. So you're gonna have a couple screws to remove. Like for example, there's one in this corner right here. There's another one in the middle where it bends. You're gonna have like the same on the other side. So you're gonna want to remove those two screws on both sides. There's gonna be a couple more. Like for example, there's one down here. They're pretty easy to find. I'm not gonna show you all of them. And then you're gonna have these plastic tabs. Since you know most cars, this is an engine bay, it goes through heat cycling, these are very brittle. You can try warming these up with a heat gun or a hair dryer, but the way to remove these plastic tabs, like this one for example, is on the bottom. As you can see, there's a little tab. So if you just press that in with like a flathead or like a pry tool, and once you press them all in, you're gonna be able to shimmy the grill piece off. Like in the bottom here, you're gonna have, this is another tab. You're gonna have to find where the tab is. It's up top, and you're gonna have to press it in, and you'll be able to shimmy it off. With the fog light trim itself, it's the same thing. You have these tabs right here. You're gonna have to take that off. But then once you take those off, the fog light itself, you have one screw, two screw right here, and then these just slide into place. So once you take off these two screws, you're gonna be able to just slide it out. So the next step is to remove the headlight. You're gonna have a couple of screws. You can, like I said, I highly recommend using 10mm because these get rusty. And as you can see, this is gonna be stripped out in a second. So you're gonna have one screw right here, another one right here. Then there's gonna be one hidden under this plastic piece. You can just kind of bend it back and expose it. And then you're gonna have the fourth one where the bumper bracket is itself. And then once these four screws are out, you'll be able to gently wiggle the entire headlight housing off. But do be careful, there are still wires there. So here are the three wires. You're gonna have a fat white one, a black, medium-sized black one, and a skinny black one. The white one, you're gonna have a tab you just press down on. Same thing for the black one. There's another tab you press down on. And for the last remaining one, the tab is gonna be on the headlight itself. Right over, where is it? Right over here on the side. You just press down on this tab, and you can just wiggle them off. Alright, so in order to take the top grill piece off, you're gonna have to carefully strip back this rubber piece. It's gonna be attached with adhesive, so you're gonna have to carefully rip it back. Once you do, there's gonna be screws, these tiny Phillips head screws. You're gonna remove, you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 right here. And then you're gonna have a bunch in the back that I talked about. There's gonna be one right here on the side. There's gonna be another one right here in the corner, and the same thing on the other side. And then you're gonna have these gray plastic tabs. It's kind of hard to tell, but this is where the tab is. You're gonna push up on the tab, and then it will come off. You just gotta carefully press up. So we're gonna take off this lower grill piece next. It's pretty much the same thing. You're gonna have a couple screws. Like for example, there's one screw in the corner right here, and then it's a little hard to see, but obviously you have another one on the same exact, on the opposite side, same exact area. And then you're gonna have these silver tabs, which is essentially the same thing. So you have these silver tabs across the bottom, and you're gonna have these black tabs across the top. These get really brittle, so if you have one or two broken, it is what it is. Just be careful. So you're gonna want to basically push up or down on the middle. You're kind of able to tell if you look at it. So you're gonna push on the tab, and then once everything is released, you're gonna be able to slide it out. But then just take a quick look. Like for example, there's another screw right here, one right here, there's one right here. So you have to remove these, and it's essentially the same exact thing. You're gonna have these small screws in the middle as well. So once you remove all the things, all the screws and the tabs, it will pop out. Alright guys, so we officially took everything off the old bumper, and now we're putting it onto the new bumper. Right here where you see these sensor holes on the old bumper, you're gonna have these tabs that you will need to install your new sensor. These are just on with double-sided tape, so you can carefully pry it off by getting in between. And I guess you could clean off this tape and just use something like hot glue, or you can just buy some double-sided adhesive and just stick it on right there. As you can see, make sure the holes line up. And yeah, so first things first is we're going to be doing the fog light assemblies. So you're going to want to get this bracket. They're labeled right here, R, L, obviously right side, left side. So we're gonna take the left side bracket right here. You can tell this is the left side because there's an L right there. Right side has an R right there. And these brackets fit on like this. So it goes like that. So with that being said, you're gonna have 3 screws you gotta line up. There's gonna be 1 screw right there, 1 right there, and the third one is gonna be right there. So you're gonna use these mini screws that you pulled off. So let me get that done first. So now that we have this bracket on, the next step is to put the actual fog light housing. So obviously this is the left side. Like I said again, it will be labeled. They should be labeled. And you're gonna have your fog lights. These are also labeled. Right here you see there's an L right there. So these 2 prongs, they're gonna go inside of these 2 slots right here. And you just slide it in, just like that. And then on the other side, you're gonna have the same 2 prongs, but these will line up with the screw holes right there. So I'm gonna screw those in. And then once these are screwed in, that should be it with the actual fog light assembly. So that's what the complete assembly looks like. 5 screws in total. And this is good to go. You're gonna do the exact same on the other side. And once that's done, you can flip it over to put the trim on. Alright, so once all the fog light assembly is in, all you have left is the trim, the fog light trim. This is pretty simple. You can easily line it up. It's not like you can mistake the side, but you just line up the shape with the side, and these fins sticking out will go in these receptive holes. So you just slide it, you just line it up, and you just firmly push them into place. Just like that. Hold on, it's a little difficult to do with one hand here, but let me see if I can do one. Like for example, this corner I just firmly pushed into place. If you come to the other side, it's a little hard to tell, but you can see the tab locked in. So you're gonna be doing the same for these slits as well. Alright guys, so we got the grill assembled. So basically how this works is first you assemble this lower portion, and the lower portion goes from the outside inwards, right? And then you have the tabs, of course, right there. You just line up all the tabs, especially in the bottom right here, these silver ones where my fingertip is. And then the top goes from the inside in, and then you have, you line up with these pegs. You have the screws up here I was talking about earlier. It's just a reverse process. Honestly, the rest of it is just in reverse. I'll try to show you along the way, but it's the same thing. Like for example, there's gonna be a screw hole here. The stuff we talked about before. But the next step is to put on this silver chrome piece right here. And now we're gonna be putting on the sensors. So honestly, the plug is gonna be on the passenger side. That's how you know how to orientate it. And first things first is gonna be putting on these push clips to the bumper itself. Like on these areas right here. There's one right there, there's one right there. You can tell from like the oval shape, and they should have some markings. And it's gonna go in a little zigzaggy pattern. I'm gonna show you a clip once I'm done. So starting off with the plug, you're gonna have a clip right here, and then this is where the sensor is gonna be. That's where we're gonna come in with the hot glue. But sensors there, then it goes straight. You have a tab right here, it bends 45 degrees. There's another tab right there. Then you come to a tab right here. There's another sensor. Then you have another tab right there in a straight line, second one, and the third one. And then you have the next sensor, and then it goes to this, curves up to up here, where there's one tab, another bend, another tab, and then you have the remaining sensor. On the old bumper, you're gonna have these plastic anchor things, so you're just gonna have to like pull these up. You're gonna have one there, one in the middle, and one on the edge. These go in these little holes right here for this rubber piece on top. So if you want to remove these, you can just come behind it. You can kind of see it. You just squeeze it with some pliers or something, and you'll be able to just remove this. And then you transfer it on the same spot on the new bumper. So we put the white trim piece on the sensor itself. And we're going to be putting a bead of hot glue around it, and you just want to make sure it lines up with the hole right there. And then you should be good to go. Fire. And the way the sensor clips in, you just slide it in this little bracket right there. Boom, you hear the click. It's the same for the other 2 sensors in the middle. On the edges, these have to be removed, but in the middle too, they're fixed onto the grill piece, so you don't have to worry about that. So once you get the bumper position, just plug in the fog lights, make sure electrical wise that everything works, you know, turn the lights on, and as long as everything's working, you're good to go. Alright guys, and here we are with the new bumper installed. Honestly, I didn't really show you guys the install process, but it's just the same thing of taking it out but in reverse. So as you can see, you know, we got the trim fixed up, obviously brand new bumper, we got a new sensor, we have both new headlights, and yeah, it's looking fire.
Reaction.